Welcome to Empowering Chats with Susan Burrell. This is where we have deep, intimate conversations about self-empowerment and future existence. I am an intuitive healer and a light leader who has been called to activate other light leaders. So I'm curious, are you one of them? So by listening, lean in and see if you are ready to be that eternal potential you've been called to be. Using your bravery, your talents, your tenacity, can you be innovative and adventurous in order to activate your light and lead from that place? This is where we learn how to love ourselves from the inside out and love the whole world over and over again. Enjoy the show. So you guys, I always like to explore outer limits. Well, actually, it's not an outer limit. It's like an extension of what we're already living, especially now that we're in 5D. There's all sorts of extraordinary information that is flooding the planet, flooding each of us collectively. And I met this amazing gentleman who actually does work in the Akashic Records. So we're going to have him explain to you all what that is and how he came to do this work and anything else that just wants to be said by means of each of us. So I want to welcome today Nimesh Radia. Did I say that right, Nims?
Nimesh. Close enough.
Nimesh. Okay. But you go by names, and that's easier for me.
Names, yeah. Everybody calls me Nims. It's easier. It's all good.
Okay, Nims. So explain to everybody what the Akashic Records are. I have my version, but because you're there quite often, explain to them what it is so they know what we're going to be talking about.
Sure. So for me, Akashic Records are a record of everything your soul's been through. Current life, past life, parallel, future life. Everything about you is stored in the records. And I really believe everybody has in some way access to records, whether it's through meditation, whether it's channeled message. But it's, some people like to see the records as a library. Some people like to see them as like a cloud. Whatever you believe is true for you. For me, they're everywhere. They're in essence, I connect with them all the time. It's when someone books a reading with me, what I'm doing is I'm channeling a message through their guides who have full access to the records. Mm-hmm. And one of my objectives is for them to build a stronger connection with their guides through the records. And obviously with the human psyche can't take on everything that's stored in the records because it'd just be too much, everything about your soul's journey. But what you get when you connect with the records is what you need to hear at the time. So when you get a reading, it could be past lives, it could be current life energy, it could be soul contracts coming to an end. In many ways, when I connect with records to somebody else, I am a vessel. I don't filter the message. I don't think about the message. Whatever comes through, comes through. It really is a safe space managed by the other person's guides.
So basically what I'm hearing you saying, Neems, is that you are a channel in essence.
100%.
Okay.
No filter. It's when I'm connected to the record of somebody else, it's the closest I feel to source because the human is already there. It's just, I feel the energy, I feel the connection. But everything has a record. So your home, anything you want to connect with, the business, the records are sacred.
Well, really? So your home and business is also stored up there?
Everything has a history, right?
Oh.
Everything. And if you think about your home, the land it's on, who knows what's happened on that land and what we're doing. So, it is a journey of understanding what the land has been through and what your home has been through, because obviously there's a lot of emotion, lots of energy, lots of history. Even if it's a new build, the land still has a history, right? So, but yeah, especially with the older homes, it's interesting just to explore that energy. So, I'm sometimes just curious, right? It's just curious, especially when you see an older. But the thing about all of that stuff is you always need permission. Even with a home, you need the home and the energy of the home needs to give you permission to delve into it, right? So just like a person, anyone, even if somebody's booked a reading, I'll still always get their permission.
Right.
Because it's a sacred energy, it's a sacred vibration that I love to go deeper in. I mean, the podcast that we recorded yesterday, that was started by a message through the records that my voice is my gift.
Awesome.
And I started it from a message. So the records have really kind of guided me to who I am today, the healer I am today. But ultimately, all our answers are inside us. But what the records can do is can give you a deeper insight into what your soul's been through, a deeper insight into what you've agreed to as a human, what your soul's committed to do and what you've experienced in this lifetime. Just gives you that deeper insight.
So, so the records hold what our soul mission is for this lifetime, but also for all the past lifetimes we've been through up until now. So does it also explain where you missed the mark?
I guess just I in theory, time is a human concept. So what's to say that we're not running parallel lives all the same time? So the records can go deeper on, sometimes I've experienced the future life. But it does, so you get what you need to hear. So if there's a past life, if you're holding on to something from a past life, that can also come up. Sometimes you need to release karma from a past life, that can also come up. So, and I also believe that for many of us in this lifetime, which is why we're experiencing things so deeply, is we've agreed to heal a lot of ancestral karma. Mm-hmm. So also what your ancestors have been through and what you've decided to release karmically in this lifetime may also come through. I mean, there's no guarantees, right? Whatever coming through for that reading, whatever's meant to come through is going to come through. But it is really what you need to hear, because sometimes you have an expectation, right? People want to be fixed, and just tell me what I do. And there is no, we're a soul having a human experience, so you've got to have the human experience. But what the Akashic Records allows you to do is accelerate your journey. So you still need to have the experience. You're still committed to go through things because you expand through whatever you go through, right? So you still need to have there isn't a quick fix, but there's an insight into who you are, why you've done certain things, and that can help you in this lifetime.
So let me ask you something, because you said accelerate your journey. Now, is that if a client comes to you aware and conscious and they are doing their inner work, does that accelerate the journey, or does the information that streams from the Akashic Records have an energy of itself that accelerates us?
So because it's managed by your guides, a lot of the time you'll receive upgrades, you'll receive healing, you'll receive, kind of that release of karma that you've been holding on to. So even if you're aware, healers need healing too, right? And sometimes we're a bit stubborn. So the messages we also get gives us insight that maybe helps. It's that, the way I always think is, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. So what it does, it gives you that insight into what you've been through, what you're going through. And with that information, it increases your awareness to then make a different decision.
Oh, okay. So let me say to you what I think I just heard this. So the information that comes from the records then gives us freedom of choice to make a different choice than going down the road we've been going down in this particular lifetime.
Sure.
So we get that information.
Yeah, because you get that awareness. And, the way that I do reading it, I always give whoever I'm reading for an opportunity to ask me questions. So, you could ask a direct question about decision. And look, sometimes you have to make the decision, but they'll give you information as to the consequences of the decision, or some more insight into why you're struggling with the decision. Or sometimes it's like you're worried about decision. It doesn't matter what decision you make, just make a decision, right? So but it does give you information that allows you to understand why you're here, understand what you're going through at the time, and give you some insight that will help you in terms of what you're going through, and then guide you to maybe make a different decision if you choose to.
So do people come to you when they're in a crisis, or they're just curious? I guess both, huh?
Both. Yeah, and it's always, if somebody was desperate for reading, I'm always kind of cautious, because it's, do you really want a quick fix? And, it's that, are you willing to do the work? But I'm a big believer that anybody that works with me, it's a soul contract. I was meant to, at some point, guide them on their journey, accelerate, whatever you might want to call it. But the timing of the work, whether it's like a reading, whether it's mentorship, is divinely timed, because the person's done the work to then get the reading they're ready to receive.
Yeah. And as you said that, Nims, I get that the people that work with me, it is a soul contract too, because it just is. It's amazing to see the ones that want to wiggle. They say they want to do the work, and then they come and then they want to wiggle out. Yeah. And the ones that come in and they're like, kabam, I'm here, let's do it. And those are the people I really enjoy supporting.
And look, the reality is what we do is hard. I'm not, when I start working with somebody, I'll tell them that, look, I'll commit to show up for the person 100%, right. But they need to be willing to go deep. And sometimes it's hard, because hard stuff comes up that you've been holding on to, the programming, etc., and only comes up because you're ready to release it. We can help, but you can't force somebody to do it, right?
So before you started your mentorship and developing, this skill, was there one day or night you just kind of woke up and there you were in the Akashic Records going, ooh, what is this place? I mean, how'd you get there in the first place?
So, on my journey, I started out very much focused on the corporate world, determined to become super successful in that space. I had my awakening, or at least an accelerated part of it, when I was met with some darkness. That's a longer story. But when I came out of it, I started on the spiritual journey. For a while, I was looking for people to fix me, tell me what I need to do, and I'll be fixed. But then I met my teacher friend, Sidra Jeffrey, who I thought, we did events around the world, and I really thought, working with her, we were gonna kind of heal the world together. But she passed away in a fire, aged only 38 years old, in March 2020. And she quickly became one of my guides. Even though humanly I miss her, she quickly became one of my spiritual guides. And she was the one that, as a guide, kept talking about Akashic Records. So I learned how to read Akashic Records because I wanted to understand my soul contract with her. Because I knew we weren't done. And it was such a beautiful process that I started reading for friends. And I've now read for thousands. I do a monthly Akashic message through the podcast. And a lot of what I do is connected with the records. The mentorship program I mentioned, I channel that through the records. So it really has, she pushed me, but because I don't really believe anyone, even what the training I do, I don't believe I train anyone on how to read the records. I truly believe the soul already knows. I'm guiding people to something they already know how to do as a soul. Just to keep it, right? So I believe she pushed me to activate a gift I already had, but take it to another level.
Wow, I love that. And this happened after she crossed over.
Yeah. And she's still on the guides. And that's the thing, when I'm reading for somebody else, she's always there. Even if, obviously when I'm opening my record, she's always there, but she's always, and actually I feel that sometimes she guides people to me in a unique way. So it's like, because I have people I work with on mentorship, they feel like they know Sidra. They're listening to me talk, and they think that, it's like, especially a podcast. I was listening to your podcast, and I thought Sidra was on the seat next to me. It's that, and they feel like they know her because she's in that space. She can get to, I guess, many more people, right? Many more souls.
Right. Wow. Isn't that an amazing soul?
I love it.
Contract, right? I mean, work here in the body, but I got to go out in a flash of light because I've gotten more work I can do on the unseen side.
Yeah, because when she was here, she always called me her trump card. When I said to her, what does that mean? She's like, when I need you, I'm going to call upon you. Mm-hmm. And she always joked about, I'm not going to be here, you're going to be on stage. And this is just not to me, to the old people she'd work with. Yeah, and I was just used to laugh when I said her show. But she's right. She, at some point, I am a trump card. I am carrying on doing the work that I need to do with her support from the other side, from the other realm. So I'm still using her teachings, but actually I'm combining with my knowledge, whatever I'm channeling, because she doesn't want me just to use her stuff. She wants me to create my own, right? This is
exactly.
So
yeah, well, you're an extension now. You're an extension of her wisdom, and your wisdom added to it, which I think is true for all of us. When I have students and clients, and they often say to me, well, you're the one that helped me do this, or you're the one that did it for me. And I'm like, no. You did it for yourself. And then I get to watch these individuals expand further in areas that I've never even been to,
How beautiful is that?
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah. It's the ripple effect, right? I mean, she always talked about touching 3.2 billion people. And I was like, how are we going to do that? But ultimately, me mentoring one person who then mentors a few other people, who helps a few other people, who then helps, the ripple effect can lead to impacting millions, even billions of lives, right? So it's just, if you're open to magic and just, my purpose is anyone I connect with, I want to leave them better than I found them.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Because it just means I can do whatever I want. It's like so many people get hung up on, oh my God, what's my destiny? What's my purpose? Why do you need to pick one?
Exactly.
It's like my purpose is that means I can do podcasting, I can do public speaking, I can do mentoring, I can do training, whatever else I want to do, because my purpose is to leave people better than I found them.
Which is a simple sounding purpose, right? When we individually can clarify enough to what our life purpose is, and it's simple, it's so much easier to then do, to follow that purpose. And when we get all caught up in our head, you just have to drop back into the simplicity of your life purpose, your soul purpose, really.
Because everyone thinks they're going to miss out on something. What are you going to miss out on? Just, you are where you're meant to be, and just the power's in the moment. But also, you get hung up on, my God, what's my destiny? You're waiting for this big epiphany in the sky, and it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. It's for some people it does. But a lot of the time, because you're waiting for this big epiphany, you're waiting for the small magic bits that happen to you on a daily basis. So when you let go of your expectations, and we talked a bit about it on our podcast, but you leave them at the door, and then you can experience magic in the moment, because that's where the reality is, right? It's like, oh my God, I'm going to miss my destiny. And that's all human. That's all ego.
It is. It's a human construct that there's something you're supposed to be doing, and B, it's your destiny, which makes it, kind of look like Hollywood skylights, here's my destiny.
Oh my God.
And the truth is, it's simple. You just show up as you. Now,
and people stop living, oh my God, until I find out what it is. Keep waiting for.
Right. Well, what I find is that in the waiting, what they're doing is there's a subconscious, unconscious belief that they're not really good enough or worthy or have anything important to say. So they push it off. Well, I haven't found my destiny yet. Actually, you were born with it. It was encoded in your being. So you came in.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is they're scared of doing the deep work because they know it's going to be hard.
Yeah. And it is.
It is. I mean, there's no, and it does require, I just feel we're a student, and it's that, being consistent with what we're doing on a daily basis, being tenacious with it. It's that you've got to just realize that, again, I trigger people when I say this, but everything that happens to you does serve you in some kind of way.
Yeah.
And yet when it's difficult, you wonder, it's like, why would I pick this as a soul? But then the thing is, when you go deeper on how much karma you've got to release and why you went through something, because you had to experience that deep. And what if whatever you're experiencing is going to help other people behind you, and you're basically cutting down a path for other people behind you?
Oh, I love that too. Yep. I saw the machete doing it. Yes. And it does take tenacity. This developing our spiritual gifts takes tenacity, and part of the tenacity is releasing your fear about things, right? Your fear of what might happen to you if you do, or your fear of what might happen to you if you don't. It just is putting one foot in front of the other on your light path, on your soul journey.
It means one step, just taking a moment. And even the deep work that we've kind of pushed down.
Yeah.
The universe has a way of forcing us to release it when we're ready to release it. And we can either do it with ease and grace on our own, or kind of keep pushing it down. That's where illness happens. That's where these men, it's just, universe, our guys have a role to play to make sure that we complete what we're here to do. And sometimes it can be, if we push it back, if we delay, then that's where the more painful experiences come from. So we do have a choice to listen to the nudges. I really do believe universe, our guides are kind. They want us to do things with ease and grace. That's why the nudges come in. But when we miss the nudges, they become louder and louder and louder, and eventually they become painful. And look, there's no right or wrong, right? But as long as we realize that nothing is missing, because it's like sometimes it is fear too, right? It's like these memories that we push back, they're kind of in a Pandora's box that we don't want to open, because what's going to happen, right? How are we going to be able to cope? But you've got to meet the universe halfway. And sure, if you need help, then look for the right people to help. But ultimately, this journey is about integrating our lessons and not holding on to that pain, because sometimes we hold on to things and it causes more pain, that's why the inner child work is so important, because we've got to go deep on everything we've been through, because it's either holding us back or serving us in some kind of way. And just journaling and asking some deep questions really does open up something different else. And everybody's waiting for something, when my gifts are activated, then I'll start doing more of this work. When I go through this course, that's why it's like, your intention is always, if you're going to sign up for something or somebody's going to work with me, it's always, what is your intention? Because if your intention is for me to fix you, then I'm not here to fix anybody, right?
Exactly.
But your intention is, I'm ready to go deep on who I am and be present and really do the work. Then let's go. Let's do this.
Let's do it. I hear you. And that's exactly how I feel about my students and clients. And if somebody's wiggling out, if they're not fully in, then good for you. It's not your time to do this. So I want to kind of track back a bit, Nimesh, about the darkness, because the inner journey, like you said, Pandora's box, I think many people are really afraid that they're going to open it and there's going to be darkness, and they're going to get sucked in to a level of darkness they can't handle. And I just want to let everybody know that actually that's the path to light, is through that dark night of the soul, that darkness that we're all afraid of, because it's pain. It can be painful for people. For me, it was, but going through it, because there's only one way to deal with it. You have to go through it and consciously intend to get to the other side. And I also want everybody who's listening to know that you might think you're one person doing it, but you're not alone. Like Nim's talking about, there's spirit guides, there's angels, there's all sorts of beings that you cannot necessarily see. You might be able to feel them, you might be able to hear them, you might be able to see them, I don't know, but we're never alone. And the reason is because we live in such a vast universe that I choose to call source energy, that there's so much going on than what's happening in the 3D world right here and now. So if there is pockets of darkness, or you're in the middle of a dark night of the soul, I just really want to encourage you to recognize You're not alone. And like we're talking about, reach out, find someone, a spirit guide or a physical embodied person that you trust, that resonates with your truth, that can help escort you through it.
So true. So true. It's ultimately, we all have light and dark in us, right? The light and dark exists. You've got to embrace all of you, even the darker parts, right? Because they're here to teach you something. And, it's really interesting when you are going through some darkness, a lot of the time the human circle gets smaller. Mm-hmm. People can't necessarily, all the people around you won't understand what you're going through because they're your old self. They represent the old version of you. And as you release the darkness, you're being reborn into something else. But there is people out there humanly, as you say, but also as you say, there's so many guys, there's so many energies. And what I like people to do is go back to the deepest thing you've experienced and just journal about the lessons and what you did, what you got through from that. And also at the time, if you can really connect with it, you probably felt your guides around you holding your space more than you realize.
Oh yeah, that's
because,
a good point.
Yeah, because they're holding you. When you go through darkness, you feel your guides less. You just do because you're so in your mind. But if you're open to it, you can feel them holding you, guiding you, holding your space. They can't stop you going through the dark night of soul because that's where your awakening, that's where your rebirth kind of goes through. So you have to go through it. But if you're open to it, you can feel them around you, holding your space and guiding you and somehow really loving you unconditionally so you can feel it. And again, it is deep work. I don't want to sugarcoat it. But the thing is that if you listen to this conversation, it means there's something inside you are ready to release.
Yes. Yes, I do too.
Just if you open yourself up, it's because the other thing we do is we hold on to things, memories, people, because we're worried about what happens if we let them go. And, you naturally, intuitively know the things that you're ready to let go of. And it is a trustful. Right now, we are taking a leap of faith. We don't know. You talked about the fifth dimension. We don't know what the future holds. We want to know. We can feel the change. We can feel that you want to put things in a box. Okay, I want to know what my future holds. This really is a trustful right now. You have to trust in you, trust in the moment, trust in the universe. But it's hard.
Yeah, it is. That is part of the human dilemma, right? Of trusting that we're going to get through this, or I'm going to get through this, and especially when you're continually faced with what appears to be darkness or evil or hatred or anger. How are we getting through this? And there's so many records, I guess they're in the Akashic Records,
sure.
Individuals that have been in those dark places. Like, I think about people that were in the concentration camps during World War II, because there were concentration camps during World War II, everyone. And those that survived, how did they do that? And it had to be feeling some sort of energy, like you're talking about the guides holding you in love, even though it probably in those places there was not a monochrome of love, but just trusting.
I mean, I read a book by Viktor Frankl called Man's Search for Meaning, and he talks about being in a concentration camp, and he talks about going through the journey. He's a psychiatrist before he went in, and he talks about going through the journey and realizing that they can physically hurt his body, but they can't hurt him. So he found that peace in him to realize that everything he needs is inside him. Yes. They can have a physical body, but ultimately they can't hurt him inside.
Yes.
And that way he got his power back. Even in that situation where he was in a concentration camp, he found a way to find peace and find that he can't control his external, but he can control how he responds to it.
Yes.
And it just shows you inside you, we have more power than we realize, and everything we need is inside us if we're open to it.
Yes.
I'm sure there's people listening saying, these guys are talking about somebody else. And I get that all the time. Anyone that's listening, you're here for a reason. You're meant to, and you're meant to be listeners. So we are talking to you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And what you just described by talking about Viktor Frankl's journey, it is a great example of inner healing too, that is available to anyone. You know, the great master healers, that's really what they were doing and teaching, that it's you heal from the inside out. So whatever's occurring in your outer world is, while it may be horrific, is inconsequential to the inner healing that you need or that you are developing. And that inner healing then becomes a beacon of light for others to go, well, if he can do it, if she can do it, then I guess I can too.
Yeah, that's the thing, is everything in our external is the result of something in their internal. And that's sometimes hard to hear. If you're external, you're in a tough environment. The fact that everything in your external is a result means that, well, you manifested your external. And I get that can be really hard sometimes. But actually, there's power in that. So if you manifested your external, that means you have the power to manifest something else.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, so knowing that actually everything you need is inside you actually can give you a lot of power.
Yes.
But it's a journey to love you, right? That's why it's everything you're looking for. So often we're looking for love, support from outside ourselves when, the love we really seek is the love that we have for ourselves.
Yes.
And then all the love we get externally is complementary to the love that we have for ourselves.
Oh, yeah. It's what I call the sprinkles on top.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. And it's just, this journey of, and even, so if you are in a dark space, just occasionally, I just love asking people to do is close your eyes and just allow yourself to feel the energy around you. Especially if you can do it in nature, just be open to feeling your guides, and I get when you're in a deep, dark space, it's hard. But if you do it regularly, if you create the muscle, because we all have gifts, right? We all have spiritual gifts that our souls work very hard for. And again, there may be some people listening say, well, I don't have gifts. We love to give labels to our gifts. Even Akashic Record Reader is a label, right? Reiki is a label.
Oh, God.
We have natural energetic auras. We all have natural empathic abilities. And really, if you want to build your spiritual gifts, I would encourage you to start using the muscle. Use your empathic ability. So when you feel something inside, switch your mind, think, do I feel? And what do you really feel? And then when you feel someone else's energy, what do you really feel? Once you start feeling the energies around you, you open yourself up to something different.
Yeah. Oh, completely. Completely.
And I love it.
I'm sorry. I want to ask about soul contracts in terms of, because as you were talking, I was hearing that there are individuals that come into huge group situations like the concentration camps or what we're witnessing now with all the different wars and death and dying. And so there's souls that have made the agreement to come in and be in those areas where that potentiality, because it's not a done deal until human free choice goes, oh yeah, now I'm going to bomb those people or incarcerate them. But their souls, is that true that souls come in with that agreement? I will be in that place during that time of darkness in order to lift up humanity?
I really believe that. I believe that we have soul contracts to inflict, cause, and also be the joy in life.
Well, let's talk a bit about inflict. People come in with a soul contract to inflict. Ow.
Well, because here's the thing, it's like there's different levels of consciousness, right? And whatever your soul's been through, sometimes at a very low level, your soul may have contracted something which says you need to inflict pain. Think about picking your blood family, right? If we go, you can pick your soul family, the friends that you love, but sometimes you pick your blood family, and you do pick your blood family with soul contracts.
Uh-huh.
And they're not always here to love you. but they are here to expand you and teach you something. And sometimes that can be painful. And I get it's that. And the inner child work I talk about, the Pandora's box I talk about, is that healing that you need to go through to release these things you're holding on to. And it's not, we talk about forgiveness, and you don't always have to like the person or whatever, but you have to forgive yourself. You have to, because ultimately you're causing yourself more pain. And, it's like you talk about soul contracts. So many of us kind of want to love our blood family, but they're not always here to be loved, right? And that's what sometimes we need to realize is they're here to expand. But again, once you've learned what you're meant to learn from them, you can declare that soul contract complete. You don't need to keep them in your life. You could choose to, it's a choice.
Right.
You can declare that soul contract complete. And, the other thing, the beauty about where we are right now, I do believe everybody's going through some kind of rebirth, some kind of reset. And this is your opportunity to pick your soul family.
Mm-hmm.
Pick the people that resonate with your soul, and they may not be the friends that you've had for a lifetime, because you've just gone through a massive change. You've gone through a massive rebirth. And, people come into your life for a reason, season, or life. They either come in for a reason to teach you something, to expand, and then you let them go and soul contract's done. They come in for a season, they walk with you, they're with you for a season. And again, that contract's complete, and others are there for life. Mm-hmm. And there's a mixture of the two, right? Some people are there for life, but also a reason, et cetera, et cetera. But I believe if you just sit there and be honest with yourself about the people in your life and ask, is my soul contract with this person complete? Maybe you get your answer.
Yeah.
And I get there's implications for any decisions you make, because obviously if you're close to the person, if they're your partner, and it's not always black and white, but sometimes you've got to trust in the instincts. And I really feel that a lot of people are holding on to their old version of themselves.
Yes.
And not embracing the new version of themselves. And it's scary, because the old version of you has made you who you are today. But the new version of you is being born, whether you like it or not. And he or she's the one that is here for the next phase of your life. And so celebrate the old version of you, of course. He or she has made you who you are today, but embrace the new version. Do new things. Do things that really kind of lift your heart. Connect with people that you connect with at a heart and a soul level. And just go on a journey of truly loving and falling in love with you first.
Yes. I totally hear you, and I totally agree with that, because that's so just to kind of reiterate, wrap up a bit, part of the information that comes through you from the Akashic Records does have to do with self-healing, self-love, self-forgiveness, and we start right within ourselves, not all the other.
No, I mean, we all have energies around us, right? And they're here to, ultimately our soul are picked up guides, right? So they're here to help us, but all your answers are in you. And so it's just, I can't, and there's no guarantees what comes through, but it gives you awareness as to the things you're holding on to from this life. Mm-hmm. Also, it could be from a past life, because we also bring that into our lives, right? So, we could have, you talked about war, we could have, for example, died on a battlefield, and we saw so much pain in there that we carry that into this life. We could have, but for an example for me is I drowned in a past life. Mm-hmm. I drowned in a past life, but I was conscious as I was drowning, and I felt helpless, like there's nothing I could do. I was drowning, that life was complete, but I was still conscious. So I carried that feeling of hopelessness into this life. But again, when you do the work, I then got to change the version of that life, so I didn't drown, and I continued, because it involved heartbreak. It's a long story, but it's just, there are things that we carry in this lifetime that once we get awareness of it, we get to choose.
Yeah. And that's part of what's occurring right now, I think, everyone, is we are at choice points of what we want, what components we want to live from this moment forward with. And do you want to live with, lots of people are doing past life regressions and going, oh, well, I'm like that because in a past life I did blah, blah. All that stuff, also, right now, with where we are in human evolution, all of that is also complete. So it might inform you why you have behaviors or beliefs or fears, but recognize that is the old you, like you're talking about, Nimesh. That's the old you, the old version of, and the new version doesn't have to carry any of that old stuff with it.
And that's the point. We can let it go.
Yeah.
If we think of the new version as being an infant, has no programming, has no religious, parental, it's just a blank, you're a blank canvas.
I love it.
And it's like, if you want to go into past life regression and check it with your intention, if you're going in just because you feel like there's something, then maybe, but if you feel like there's something wrong with you and you want to be fixed, then you're going to get some magic answer. Maybe just check in with yourself and realize that, you can get awareness as to what's happening inside you. But with the first stage in any healing is awareness. So if you're looking for awareness, great. Because after awareness, you have to go to acceptance. You become aware of who you are, then you have to accept who you are in this moment. And then you have to love yourself. Right. You have to choose to. So I really believe what we do in this, the work that we do is we help people to become aware of who they are.
Yes.
Seeing all the layers, all the programming. And once you're aware of who you are, then you have to accept, but it all becomes a choice then, right? Then to fall in love with you in this version of you is a choice. To do the work, you truly integrate this version of you is your choice.
It is our individual choices. I had a client, well, she still drops in every once in a while, but when she first started working with me and we were dealing with self-love, self-worth, she would come every time she saw me and at some point she'd say, I didn't know I was supposed to love myself. Nobody taught me to love myself. I didn't even know that wasn't a choice. I was like, whoa.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
amazing, but
we taught to push all our emotions down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about the British, stiff upper lip. You're not meant to. Think about the male. We're not meant to. It's like, oh my God, you can't cry, you can't express emotion.
Yeah.
And, we're taught, we're programmed to not show our true emotions. If we don't like something, well, keep it inside. No, we're here. This is a life that's meant to be lived. So truly connecting with you. And I think it's beautiful the work that we get to do, because we get to guide people to truly, it's like, how much are you influenced by your parents, what they taught you growing up? Right. Are you being the same as the way they taught you, or are you being the opposite? And then you think about your schooling, your friends, and it's like, once you start to realize, actually, you're not being authentically yourself, you're living all these programs. As you start to release those programs, your light becomes so much brighter and you start to understand why you're here.
Oh, yes.
So, but it does require some work.
Yes. You know what? I'm so grateful that we've had this conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your gifts with us today. And you've got a website, spiritual. Yeah. It's called spiritualjourney.life, which will be on the show notes. But you also have a podcast.
Yes. And the podcast is called Spiritual Journey, Path to Awakening. It is really there to simplify spirituality, to guide people on their spiritual journey. By the time this episode is released, our episode together would already be out there. So please go and to listen. I love that conversation. But yeah, it really is there to guide you on your journey. I release a monthly episode with an Akashic message. It's always out on the 1st or the 2nd. I always release an episode on a Monday. So yeah, just and it's all different spiritual topics. Whatever, it's like this. I don't script it. I don't edit it. Whatever comes through, whatever's channeled, we just share.
And I love that you're sharing the Akashic readings, the information once or twice a month, because then when people listen to that, they get a bigger sense of what's actually there in the records that can be utilized, activated, downloaded. It's
the thing about the group message. A lot of people say, "Oh, I don't, it's just for the group. It's not for me." But ultimately, I invite all of your guides in. So if you listen to that message, actually, it is for you.
Right.
So if you're open to it, you'll get insights because I open the records for all of us. So it's like you'll hear me opening the records. So I'm inviting all your guides in. So you may get a message through my words, but as you're listening, because I've opened the records for you, you may actually get a deeper connection with your own guides and get your own messages.
Cool. That's cool.
I love the records. You can tell.
Yeah, I am grateful that you love the work you do now. That you love the work you do now. And I'm grateful. I am so grateful that you do the work you do now. I'm grateful, Nimesh, that you said yes.
So
yes to your gifts, and you're continuing to grow and learn and support others in saying yes to their gifts. Thank you so much for the work you do. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. I love talking. We had such a flowing conversation. I've loved it. I'm sure we can carry on for hours.
Oh, we probably could, but yeah.
I'm sure.
So I'm just going to end with, and so it is, namaste. Well, that wraps up our empowering chat for the day. I hope you enjoyed it and found it inspired you to be more empowered. If you want to find out more about me, go to susanburrell.com, my website, and you can see what we're up to. I am teaching classes again, so there's a calendar of that, and you can register. You can check out my book, Live an Empowered Life, a 30-day journey with the companion inspiration cards, or you can access my guided meditations that go through Insight Timer. We got a bunch of stuff on the website. Check it out. And until then, namaste.